So today's project is putting a 2-inch lift on this 2001 Jeep Grand Cherokee. When it comes to suspension lift, some people prefer using longer springs to reach the desired lift height, but in our case, we'll be using spring spacers instead. While I don't recommend exceeding 3 inches for a budget boost, this 2-inch lift is perfectly justifiable for a non-trail use, daily driven street Jeep. The first step is to jack the vehicle up and place jack stands behind the lower control arms to support the uniframe. Then remove the lug nuts with a 19mm socket. The bottom of the shock absorber is held in place with two 13mm nuts. You'll need a 15mm socket with the 18mm wrench to remove the sway bar link. With the shocks and sway bar link removed, the axle should have enough wiggle for you to pry the springs out. See that? Then you'll need to remove the spring isolator because the spring spacer goes in between the spring isolator and chassis. Now, installation is reversal removal, but I'm using spring compressors to make the process just a little bit easier.
Twenty minutes later.
I'm in the kitchen.
Jack the axle up so you can reattach your sway bar link, reinstall the bottom end of your shock absorber, and make sure everything is tight. Put your wheel back on, and I should have took measurements beforehand, but I forgot. The front end is all buttoned up, let's move on to the back. Start by jacking up and placing jack stands behind the rear lower control arm to support the body, then remove the wheels. You'll need a 15mm socket to remove the shocks. This 18mm nut is welded to the bracket so you don't have to worry about it spinning. Then disconnect the rear sway bar using an 18mm socket with a 15mm wrench. Then lower the jack and let the axle hang. Spider, look who wants to help. Look who wants to help with the lift. Talking to a spider. Now the spring spacer for the rear of the vehicle goes on the bottom in between the spring perch and the spring isolator. To remove this, I'm just pulling up on it. Even with the spring compressors, it can be difficult getting the spring back in place. It's times like this that an extra set of hands comes in handy. Or maybe even an extra set of feet. Once you have everything in place, reattach your sway bar and shock absorber and put your wheels back on. And that's how you install spring spacers or springs for the WJ model Grand Cherokee years 99 through 2004. Until next time, y'all stay tuned.